Hello and welcome to my watercolor tutorial on how to use and mix colors on a watercolor palette. I will use the palette that is part of my watercolor set. I have already prepared 1 glass of water. For this tutorial I won't use the first mixing tray, but the second, smaller one. I will also use the watercolors from this set. And in case I will need to wipe out excess water from my brush, I will use this cotton cloth. Since the colors are in the beginning very dry, you will probably have to repeat the process of adding water to the colors 2 or 3 times to get the pigment dissolved properly. You will then add the color on your mixing tray, which at first will be opaque and sticky, but by adding additional water this will change. Watch how fluid the color gets. If it doesn't feel sticky or look opaque, you have added enough of water. You never add the color straight from the pans onto your paper, because the colors would be too opaque. The other reason is in case you want to mix 2 colors, you would make both of them dirty. To create lighter values of color, we usually add white, but not by watercolors, since we don't use it. Here we get lighter values by adding more water, so that the color pigments get dissolved even more. By changing the ratio of water and color, you can create lighter color values. The same principle goes for each color. By adding more and more water, the color values get lighter. With this method, you can only create lighter colors. For creating darker values, you have to use other methods, but those require another, separate tutorial. Mixing colors is very straightforward. By adding and merging 2 colors on the mixing tray, we can create a new color. In watercolor, it's hard to say how much of each color to add, so the best way is by adding smaller amounts of the second color. You can always add more if needed. For creating lighter values of the mixed color, you can do the same as we did with the 1 color, simply by adding pure water. can see what happens if you add too much of one color. The end result of my mixing was a very dominant blue color, so instead of getting a purple color, I only got a blue one. The more of the second color you will add, the more dominant the pigment qualities of this one will be in the newly mixed color. In my example, where I mix blue and magenta, I can create the mixed color that is either closer to the red color or to the blue. Each time I add one of them, the mixed color changes. I can repeat the same process over and over again and switch from red to blue hues. Another way of mixing two colors is by adding them side by side and pushing the color on the mixing palette until you get the desired color. You probably wonder why I have this cotton cloth. I use it for wiping the excess water from my brush. For this tutorial I didn't have to use it, but when I actually paint, I use it a lot. Here's my other example of mixing yellow and magenta color, where the process is the same as before. For me personally, nothing looks better than seeing colors mixed on the paper. First you add one color and then place beside it the second one. By getting closer to the edge of the first one, the color will start to mix and blend. When the colors are still wet, the color transitions don't look nice. Don't worry about it. Once they will get dry, it will look much better and smoother. You can again create lighter color values by adding clear water with the brush on the paper and then touch the edge of the color so it starts to run into the wet area. After you have added your watercolors on the palette and won't use them for a while, they will get completely dry. You could leave them for a month or longer and they wouldn't lose their painting quality. To paint again, just wet the brush with water and go over the dried watercolors on your palette. Mix well so all the pigments get loose. Thank you for watching my tutorial. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section down below.